Okay, let's start. Sorry. Here, let's start.
Okay, hi everyone. Oh, and this is team 2 from like water conservation group, and our project is to plant a Japanese garden, and this is done and presented by me, Jessica Wang, Maggie Wu, James Lai, Emily Lai, and Carson Gan. And to start off, oh, please, next slide. Thank you. To start off, our group will introduce the property sketch with the description, the landscape goals, and a special scene. Then we will present our soil selection, soil additions, and plant selection slides. Finally, we will show the final garden sketch and the summary. In addition, there is a resources cited page. Next slide, please. After multiple discussions and Zoom meetings, we decided to use Emily's backyard. Emily's backyard is vast, giving us plenty of space to arrange the plants. Her house is located on the bottom left corner if looking at it from the bird's eye view. And because her garden is so large, it has full sun exposure. Her garden has a Mediterranean climate and the soil of a pH of 7 to 7.5. Her yard includes 3 rock paths, a pond, and a bridge, perfect for our chosen theme, a Japanese and an Asian style garden. Next slide, please.
So as stated by Jingyao, our garden theme is Japanese and Asian styled. Also, after research and careful selection, the goal for our plants in the garden are all low maintenance plants. Next slide, please. Since I live in a Mediterranean climate on the Palos Verdes Peninsula, the soil here tends to be pretty dry due to the local soil type, sandy loam. This soil type is defined as having significant amounts of sand particles along with some silt and clay particles. Sandy soil is well drained since sand particles don't clump together well. This also means that sandy loam does not retain a lot of water. So if you planted flora that needs to be watered frequently, such as roses, then you need to water them at least a few times a week, which is not water efficient. Furthermore, nutrients don't tend to hold well in sandy loam either, so we decided to use fertilizer. Also, since this is SoCal, full sun to partial sun exposure is expected. Since I live at a relatively high altitude, there are higher chances of full sun exposure because I live above the usual cloud cover. Next slide, please. The soil here can lack nutrients. Therefore, I chose the Espoma Organic Tradition Soil Acidifier. Its main elemental component is sulfur, which lasts a really long time in the soil, even though it takes longer to set in. Although it is not needed for alkaline or basic soil plants, the acidifier will help plants that prefer more acidic soil. In addition, to increase soil fertility, I chose shredded bark, a mulch which does not block the airflow to the soil. Since shredded bark decomposes easily, it can provide nutrients on a more frequent basis. Next slide, please. Azalea, or in scientific terms, rhododendron, is a type of shrub native to Japan and Korea that is 3 to 5 feet tall with trumpet-shaped flowers in colors yellow, red, pink, white, and more. Azaleas can be exposed up to 6 hours a day and need a well-drained acidic soil with a pH of 4.5 to 6.0 to survive. Because the soil we use is not that acidic, we had to add the sulfur acidifier to the specific area where azaleas are planted to increase acidity. Next slide, please.
The water lily, also known as the nymphaceae, is a type of aquatic perennial that is usually less than 6 inches tall with unique shaped flowers that can be found in red, pink, and white. The water lily thrives when exposed to full sunlight and the clay loamy soil with a HP of 6.1 to 7. Water lily prevents algae from growing in ponds because it shades the pond, thus decreasing the need for frequent water checkups. Next slide, please. The wisteria plant or Wisteria sinensis is a type of flowering plant that is native to Asia and North America. This plant can be found in height 10 to 30 feet in colors from bluish purple to white. The wisteria plant grows best in full to partial sunlight and needs well-drained soil with an HP of 6 to 7 to survive. Keep in mind the plant is very adaptable when it comes to HP levels. Although wisteria may be an invasive plant, we planned on putting a fence around the garden to stop mammals from continuously spreading the seeds of wisterias. Wisteria trees also attract an enormous amount of bees, which makes it a bee sanctuary. Next slide, please. The giant cane, with the scientific name being Arundandria genotilia, is a type of bamboo that is native to North America and is usually 1 to 8 meters with the color green. The giant cane grows best in full sunlight with moist soil with a pH level of 5 to 6. Although the giant cane is invasive since its roots spread rapidly, it can be kept under control with bamboo barriers. Next slide, please. Duckweed, or in scientific terms, lemonade, is a type of flowering plant which is native to Africa, Asia, Europe, and North America. It consists of a light green color and thrives best in full sun exposure with a water pH level of 4.5 to 7.5. Duckweeds provide supplements for other animals and even a rich source of vitamin A and B for humans. Next slide, please.
The Prunus avium, commonly known as the ornamental cherry tree, has colors light pink, white, and yellow. This is a type of prune tree that's native to Japan. The best sun exposure level for the plant is full sun, and its preferred soil is well drained with a pH of 6.5 to 7. Other than being beautiful, this cherry tree also symbolizes spring and even renewal and hope. Next slide, please. The Chinese fountain grass, or called Panaceum alopecaroides, has colors from pink to tan. This is a perennial grass that's native to Asia and Australia. It grows in full sun exposure and prefers moist and well-drained soil that has a pH of 3 to 10. Also, with the seed of the Chinese fountain grass, you can make flour for emergency food. Next slide, please. The blue-eyed grass, or in scientific name, Cereich, actually, no, I'm just gonna say it, is a type of flowering perennial native to North America and consists of colors blue to violet. This grass is usually 20 inches tall and grows best in full sun exposure with moist soil that has a pH of 6 to 6.5. This beautiful grass's roots are often used for tea and even treating diarrhea. Next slide, please. The mondo grass is a type of evergreen perennial that's native to Southeast Asia, has a height of less than a foot, and consists of a light green color in full sun exposure. Mondo grass needs full to partial sun exposure and a well-draining soil type with a pH level of 5 to 6.5 to thrive. Like the wisteria, they are low maintenance and can grow well under unfertile soil. Next slide, please.
Creeping juniper, or Juniperus horizontalis, is a low maintenance shrub that is commonly used as ground cover in gardens and can grow up to 10 feet high. Ground cover is needed in East Asian themed gardens to provide contrast with the colorful flora, which is what it does here. Like most low-growing plants that prefer full sun exposure, the creeping juniper is low maintenance, meaning that it should not be watered often. You can find the creeping juniper everywhere. It is a native plant to the US that grows from slopes to riverbanks. Next slide, please. This Japanese maple, also known as Icer palamitin, is native to Korea and Japan and can be found in colors red, green, and orange. This 20 to 35 feet tall plant thrives in full sun exposure to partial shade and prefers well-drained, organically rich and acidic soil with a pH level of 5.5 to 6.5. We will have to add ground sulfur to the soil to increase acidity levels. Also, the leaves of Japanese maple plant can become a treat when fried with sugar batter. Next slide, please. The bush monkey flower, called Mimulus aurantiacus, is a flowering perennial plant that is less than 5 feet tall. This plant is native to North America and can be found in orange, pink, yellow, and red colors. The bush monkey flower does best in full sun exposure with moist soil with a pH level of 5 to 8. Additionally, this plant can attract many types of insects like butterflies, be put into salads, and made into tea. Next slide, please. The mountain violet is a type of perennial herb that is native to North America. This plant is 1.1 feet tall and consists of colors purple and yellow. Mountain violet does best under full sun exposure with silt or sandy soil with a pH level of 6 to 6.5. Furthermore, this plant can host multiple different butterfly and moth species like Northwest fritillary. Next slide, please. In this drawing, the wisterias are, next slide. In this drawing, the wisterias are planted on the exterior of the two outer rock paths, and the azaleas are planted on the opposite side of the wisterias. Next to the azaleas are the creeping junipers, the mondo grass, and the blue-eyed grass. The plants on two sides of the middle path are the ornamental cherry trees. Near the pond, there are Japanese maple, bush monkey flower, and mountain violets, and inside the pond, there are water lilies and duckweeds. Furthermore, surrounding the rectangular path near the pond are giant cane bamboos. Lastly, there are fences surrounding the whole garden and sprinklers located in different parts of the garden. Next slide. After researching and learning more about the different plants, we discovered more about the different soils and their pH levels. We also learned about diverse landscapes with an extensive amount of native, non-native, and even invasive plant species. After doing this project, we found out that taking care of a garden is not as easy as we thought it would be. After all the time we spent on this project, we all improved on finding more valuable and safe information to use. Next slide. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. And I'm going to